Basketball. When we take the court and represent Milwaukee and Wisconsin, we are expected to play at a high level, give maximum effort, and hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves to that standard, and in this moment, we are demanding the same from lawmakers and law enforcement. We are calling for justice for Jacob Blake and demand the officers be held accountable. For this to occur, it is imperative for the Wisconsin State Legislature to reconvene after months of inaction and take up meaningful measures to address issues of police accountability, brutality, and criminal justice reform. We encourage all citizens to educate themselves, take peaceful and responsible action, and remember to vote on November 3rd on behalf of the Milwaukee Bucks. As you can see, we all thank you guys for taking upon your time to stay here with us. We're sorry that it took a little bit more time, but we thought it would be best for us as a team to brainstorm a little bit, educate ourselves, and not rush into having raw emotion, giving you guys things like that. So on behalf of ourselves and our team, we're going to place a statement as a team today and go back and continue to educate ourselves and get better awareness of what's going on, and then speak to you guys later. So we'll come up with a statement now.
So the NBA might be officially done. They postponed all the Game 5s yesterday, but now they're just like the Clippers and the Lakers have come together, LeBron, and they're basically like, nah, they're probably just gonna can it. And it's like, yo, I wish we could hit the restart button on the whole 2020. I mean, don't sit here in front and act like when you play a video game and you're playing the computer, you haven't gotten frustrated and said, fuck it, hit the restart button. But in life, we can't do that. Unfortunately, we can't just jump to 2021. But I keep saying, what the fuck is the difference between when Kyrie Irving said this almost 2 months ago? And Kendrick Perkins and them, y'all, you better shut up and play ball. Kyrie, and I get it. He's a star. LeBron's a mega star. They follow his lead. If LeBron would have unified with Kyrie and would have said, yeah, I'm with it, I think he would have never seen the bubble. And I sit there and I'm like, well, I don't want to compare the George Floyd tragedy to the Jacob Blake tragedy, but what's the difference other than one died and one is paralyzed? And I think really with George Floyd, the players had already been off for like 3-4 months. They were anxious. They wanted to play. They wanted to make their money. The NBA needed to make money. So I think that was why they went along with it. It's not that it's really like, oh, this was worse than George Floyd, but you have to break that down and to people to understand it. And they didn't do that. They just said, fuck it, we're done. Now, in other sports, the WNBA is boycotting. The Milwaukee Brewers and 3 baseball games were pushed back. People are thinking the NFL, the big boy, I don't think the NFL is going to do it. The NBA has that advantage that is rare where it's literally a black league. You got one superstar white player, and that's Luka, and it's really a black league. I don't know how the white players feel, like the Kyle Korvers of the world, but they really ain't got no choice. In the NBA and the NFL, there's more black players technically, but the players that hold the most clout, the quarterbacks, things like that, they're usually white guys. And I don't see the NFL doing this at all. I don't see it. They don't have it. They have the Green Bay Packers. They come from Wisconsin, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers and those boys are gonna do the same thing. Maybe a few players, maybe. I'd be surprised. But this whole thing it's done. Now they're gonna have a meeting with the board members today, with the teams, Chris Paul and them, and they're gonna come down to a final decision. But the bubble was really a disaster, and I think that was the reason why the players were it was easier for the players this time to walk off and say fuck it, instead of when George Floyd died and Kyrie Irving said the same shit. The bubble was miserable. Paul George just came out the other day and said that he was going through some things, mental health wise, depression. Guys are missing their family, their kids. They've been secluded in this little building with all of this testosterone, And I'm like, that's not a healthy environment. I said that before they came. It's like some Boy Scout shit. That you think this is gonna work? I mean, Lou Williams, Lemon Pepper Lou, he broke out and got his wings and went to Atlanta. It was a disaster. The ratings were down 45%. Almost 50% of your fan base chose not to watch. That's a lot. And I don't think it was all white people. I mean, some people, even black folks, were kind of like overwhelmed by all of the Black Lives Matter stuff and the jerseys. And it was just like, okay, the defense was not there. The 76ers got swept, and I don't think they were held to under 100 points once the whole fucking series. You couldn't check anybody because they called every fucking thing. It was a disaster. The bubble, it only did anything. The only people who shined in the bubble, Devin Booker and the Suns, Luca, and the stars did their thing. Damian did his thing and solidified himself as like, okay, y'all forgot about me. Kawhi and them did their thing, but it was really a disaster from the jump. It wasn't a good idea. And I think that's the reason why a lot of players are like, fuck it, we want to get out of here anyway. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like a bailout. Is boycotting sports gonna change the mentality? No, but you need legislation, you need laws. That's what changes things at the end of the fucking day. So it is what it is. So no more basketball. It's bittersweet for us basketball fans. My team was in the playoffs, so of course I was watching. But I think what we learned through quarantine is it's a lot that we're used to that you can live without that you didn't realize until quarantine. Like, okay, this is what it's like without basketball. I'm okay. It's kind of boring, but you live. You'll survive. The funny thing last night was on TNT on NBA or NBA on TNT. Kenny Smith walked off. He walked off the set, and the awkwardness with Shaq and Charles. And as the other two black guys, Ernie's looking at him like, okay, what are y'all gonna do? And Charles is like sipping his cup, and Shaq just starts mumbling, we gotta vote. I was like, you fucking punk ass niggas, man. Like, oh man, let me know what y'all think, man. The NBA canned it. It's a wrap.